What is up, you guys? Let's sit down and talk. What's up, you guys? I am here in my little get ready loft, chill little space, and I just wanted to have a simple little chat with you all today about sports of all things. Yes, sports. I know nothing really about sports. I'd say my favorite sport is soccer, specifically the US women's national team. I don't watch football. I don't really know anyone who watches football, but the Super Bowl has always been really fascinating to me. And I'm sure, you all know why. And it's because the halftime show is like the musical event of the year. And I am a huge music fan. Just a couple days ago, let me pull up my notes here. I ran across some articles about Taylor Swift, right? She was known to be one of the potentials, probably the front runner for who was going to headline the halftime show because of her seismic effect on football culture over the past couple years since starting to date now be engaged to a very popular football player. I think he's popular. I don't know. He's popular to me because he's dating Taylor Swift. So yeah, I think a lot of people were like, wow, this would be like the perfect capstone to their romance, as if she is headlining what a lot of people I think to be his maybe last Super Bowl. Is that right? Don't know. Anyway, there was an article that came out that said that Taylor Swift has declined that offer. And these are all reports. Who knows if that was really even true, like if she was ever really in the running or even contemplating it seriously. But the article says that Taylor Swift doesn't need exposure. She wanted a deal that reflected her value, in addition to being unhappy with the amount of money that the NFL was going to pay her, which is zero for everybody. We're going to talk about that. She allegedly also sought control of the performance footage. We all know that Taylor Swift is a mastermind, no pun intended, when it comes to her content. Nothing goes unused. We're getting documentaries, we're getting concert tours, right? We're getting behind the scenes, we're getting album variants, we're getting exclusives, we're getting vinyls, we're getting CDs, we're getting cardigans, right? She is a master marketer. I've made a whole podcast about that. We know that. And so it makes sense that if she was doing, such a huge show, such a huge performance, especially one that's so integral to her love story, which is a love story that is a huge part of her music and who she is as an artist, that she would want control over that footage, right? She would want to be able to put that in the Travis and Taylor wedding special vinyl edition. We know that, right? And I'm not shaming her, by the way. And I'm not celebrating her. I'm just putting the facts out there, putting my thoughts out there. So anyway, that's allegedly why she turned it down. The Super Bowl is always fascinating to me. One, because I'm a music fan and it's fun to see who is popular at the moment or whatever, or who the NFL deems worthy enough to be on that stage. One of the big names, by the way, behind who chooses who these artists are is Jay-Z, who is obviously a very successful, artist, one of the best. I don't really know hip hop, but I hear he's one of the best. Anyway, one of the other reasons why it's so fascinating to me is because obviously I'm a business owner, right? I'm a freelancer, I'm an entrepreneur, and I talk to you guys who are also entrepreneurs. And the Super Bowl does not pay. The Super Bowl pays, I guess, for production costs. So I think they'll help them design the sets that they want and get the dancers they want and all of that. But they are not getting a paycheck from performing at the Super Bowl. And I always just think it's so fascinating because I think as creators, as entrepreneurs, we are often put in that situation where we have to make that decision. Do we do something for free or do we do it for exposure, for, bragging rights, for social proof, for networking, for XYZ? And it can sometimes be a hard decision because it's like a fork in the road. There are two options and you'll probably always live with regret either way. It's like you'll either say, dang, I could have said that I was a Super Bowl performer, or dang, I should have been compensated for that because I spent a lot of time and a lot of my own money and whatever, you know, preparing for that. There's not necessarily a right answer. Now, I want to kind of give you a little glimpse into why I think Taylor probably made the right decision. Maybe. I mean, it again, it depends, but probably why she made her decision. This was a study by MarketWatch. They said that her association with the NFL has boosted the league's brand value by over $122 million in just a few months. This is just by her showing up at Kelsey's, I almost said shows, games, matches, whatever the heck they're called. I don't know. By showing up, by being photographed, by being a Chiefs fan, by saying the guy in the Chiefs, right, in her performances. I mean, that is the type of stuff that honestly money can't buy. Like, to have the biggest pop star in the world at the moment, you can love her, you can hate her, but facts are just the facts. She's broken all kinds of records with her tours and album sales and all of that. You can't pay for that type of exposure, It goes on to say her impact on female viewership is staggering, a 53% increase among those aged 12 through 17, a 34% rise in those over 35, and 24% in the 18 to 24 demographic. So more women are watching football because of Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the biggest artist among women, I think, probably of all ages at this point. Can you imagine how many women would be tuning in? How many people would be tuning in, but particularly women? Let me see, how many people tuned into the Super Bowl last year? It was a record 127 million viewers across Fox Deportes, Telemundo, streaming, etc. So, and that was just like with her being there, hoping for a chance to see her in the crowd, among other people, right? I'm sure the game was fun. I don't know. But anyway, so that's why she made that decision. Now, today or yesterday, whenever, it was announced who the actual performer is going to be, which is a young man. Actually, I don't even know how young he is. A man named Bad Bunny. He is, Puerto Rico's own Bad Bunny. What is his real name again? I got to look it up. Benito, I think, right? Benito. How old is he? Oh gosh, he's 31. He is a young man. Bad Bunny is the actual performer, and people are really excited about this. Some people are really upset about it. I'm going to deliver the following information in a very neutral manner. And I would say it actually is quite neutral because I know one of his songs. It's on one of my playlists. I'll put it up on the screen, the one that I like. I just don't really know his music. And I love Latin music. Like, one of my all-time favorite artists is Shakira. Growing up, I was like a huge Selena fan, Mana, all these different bands. But like, I don't know. I'd never gotten into it. I never really liked reggaeton. Don't hate me. But like that I haven't traditionally loved. So I am pretty neutral on him, that I don't really know any of his music or anything. But I saw this article come out a few weeks ago because I guess he did this huge world tour, and he is a huge artist. Okay, I've got too many thoughts in my head right now. I'm going to try to get them out one by one. Here's the thing about Latin music. I feel this way about Shakira, right? Like, Shakira did the halftime show with J-Lo, which I have issues with. I love both of them. I love J-Lo as well. But why do they have to share? And I was upset about this because I'm like, Shakira is one of the biggest artists in the world. I think people severely underestimate how big Latin music is because, number one, Latin America is giant, right? It's like part of North America, it's South America. That's just Latin America, right? But then there's also like Europe, which a lot of people in Europe speak Spanish. A lot of people in the United States and Canada speak Spanish. A lot of people like myself are very not that fluent in Spanish, but still associate it with a part of American culture, a part of our upbringing, our friends that we grew up with, right? So I think when people say, why is Bad Bunny being asked to headline? I think you're kind of telling on maybe a smaller worldview, or maybe just like a bit of an ignorance there at just how popular this type of music is, number one. That's the first thing I want to say. Now, he went on a big world tour, but I guess not that big because he actually skipped the United States. And what he said when asked about why he skipped the US, he said people from the US could come here to see the show. Latinos and Puerto Ricans of the United States could also travel here or to any part of the world. But there was the issue that ICE could be outside my concert venue. And it's something we were talking about and very concerned about. Now, again, I'm just reporting the facts here with my little reporter mic. Even though, reggaeton and Latin music and Bad Bunny is universal, right? I'm sure a lot of people who know nothing about what he's saying love his music, as I just explained. I am sure the majority of his audience are Latinos, right? Are people who are potential targets for, ICE raids and things like that. And if you don't know what that is, basically, the US has immigration conflicts going on right now, to put it simply. And a lot of people are very scared, both legal and illegal immigrants, right? About being picked up by ICE, which is like our immigration law enforcement. And so it is understandable that he would not want to potentially put the majority of his audience at risk. So that is why he didn't tour the US. You can feel how you feel about it, but that's just what he said. Now, what's really interesting about the whole Super Bowl situation is, one, if we look at the football, the American football viewing demographics, yeah, Latinos watch football, but like it is like the all-American sport. It's very emblematic of America, right? I mean, it's American football. This isn't soccer even, which is huge in Latin America and huge in Europe. No. It is American football. And so I think similarly to when Shakira and Jennifer Lopez performed, we saw a lot of people being really upset because they weren't American enough, even though Jennifer Lopez was born in New York City. Shakira was not. She's from Colombia. But still, a lot of people, took it as kind of an acknowledgement of maybe what America really is, which is a melting pot. And maybe they don't like that. And again, I'm not saying how I feel about that. I'm just saying these are sentiments that people had. And what's interesting about all of these factors combined, and why I think somebody as big as Bad Bunny, who, nobody's touching Taylor Swift in terms of album sales and concerts and all of that. She just is on a different level, but Bad Bunny is a superstar in his own right? Shakira, a superstar in her own right. Absolutely, like one of the world's biggest. They don't really need the exposure either. He probably wants to make a statement. I think he is seizing this opportunity to show the world what America looks like, right? Puerto Rico is a part of America. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've never seen this man speak English ever. I would be shocked if he speaks English. I think again, I don't know very much about him, but I know I saw him on the Grammys once and I thought it was so funny because he just like took his award and like said some things in Spanish and just walked off. I don't know. It was funny. Like I kind of like the attitude. I understand the appeal. And yeah, it would be shocking to me if he speaks English at all. And I think a lot of people are going to be upset that, he's not speaking English and we're in America, that he's not American enough. And I think that is his statement. And similar to Kendrick Lamar last year, who is also all American, he made a lot of kind of political, both over and under the table, if you will, references about politics and race and deeper things that typically are not touching, the NFL is not necessarily touching. We all know, if we go back to like Colin Kaepernick and all of that, they don't advocate for political activism necessarily, but he took that moment to do so. And I think that's why he says yes. So I want to take it out of the politics a little bit here before we get angry at each other, and just say this is a reason that I'm sharing this for us who work for ourselves, is you have to make that decision. Am I doing this for money, or am I doing this to send a message? Am I doing this for finances, or am I doing it for access to an audience? Right? And yeah, Bad Bunny doesn't need like streaming numbers. He doesn't need money, but he might be able to send a message to in middle income, non-Latino American home who may have never turned on his music before, and they might see something that speaks to them, whether it's an overt political reference or even if it's just, wow, this music is really good, and they start to go research him and learn more about him. And number one, give him money that way with streaming and all of that. But number two, maybe care about some of the causes that he does care about. Maybe see that quote that he talked about ICE, and maybe their minds will be changed, or maybe they'll at least be a little softened to it, right? Those are the reasons I think you do free work. Whatever your beliefs are, I think if you are looking to tap into a new audience, if you're looking to make a statement about something, if you're looking to get into a room that maybe you otherwise wouldn't be invited to, that's why you do free work. You don't do free work because you want to get a little bit more streaming on your already billionaire, streaming platform. Like Taylor Swift doesn't need more money, which, is I listen, I am a Swiftie. I really am. I made a whole video about it, like I said, a newer Swiftie, old then not then back at it Swiftie. I do have questions about like, do we really need like 10 vinyl variants? Like, I love her. I really do. But it is kind of, interesting to me that I guess I guess she thinks like a business owner. I think she is a true artist. Truly. I think she is one of the greats. I really do believe that. But when it comes to actually selling her stuff, I think the songwriting does come from a very artistic place. But I think once it becomes a product, she very much puts on a business owner hat, which is very fascinating. And I think it's something that is so unique about her because most people who are creatives, I think actually struggle with that second part. They struggle with the business owner part or the reverse, right? The business owners struggle with the creative part. And they're only going to do bubblegum pop or, whatever the people want to hear. They're not going to make like a tortured poets department or a folklore. And so I think that's really fascinating about her. But anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let's keep it respectful, keep it kind, of course. But yeah, like, would you work for free? Would you do the Super Bowl for free? What would you do in Taylor's or Bad Bunny's situation? I would love to hear from you. I think this is always, like I said, just such a fascinating topic, no matter the year. But I think this year is one that's very interesting as it relates to everything going on with, immigration and obviously Taylor being one of the biggest artists of all time. So let me know what you think. And let me know if you like these casual little chats as well. And if there are any hot topics you want me to talk about in the future. Thanks for being here. Happy whatever day it is that you're watching this. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.